this right here. And okay. What's going on, YouTube? It is Dom, aka KT2, and I'm coming back at you guys again for another video. So today we have Sergeant Gantz with us today, and he's going to be interviewing for the 31 Bravo MOS. Not quite sure if I'm going to go from NCO to junior enlisted, but for right now, this is our 31 Bravo expert. He is an actual real 31 Bravo that does his job, that is active duty. So without further ado, this is Sergeant Gantz. Sergeant Gantz, thank you for this interview. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So our first question is, how long have you been at the job that you're currently at?
Okay, I've been at 31 Bravo going on 3 years. So actually on the 18th of this month will be 3 years.
3 years. Wow. Okay. Okay. Um, did you get promoted while you were at that job, or have you been at that rank the whole time?
I've been promoted while I was at this job.
Okay. Um, so second question, why did you pick that job? Why did you pick 31 Bravo?
There's a lot of reasons why I picked it. Number one is I felt like, it gives me the opportunity to actually do something positive, while protecting our country, but actually being able to protect the people that go out and protect our country abroad. So not only do I provide security in a general aspect, so to speak, but I also provide security for it could just be anyone just going overseas and stuff like that, and just securing fobs and just anything for that matter.
Okay, okay. That's great. So the caveat off of that, what is your day-to-day life like in this MOS?
Okay, so as an MP, we do wear many hats, whether it be in the field environment, whether it be in the garrison environment, or whether it's kind of on the road, or whether we're deployed. So I'll start on the road because that's currently what my main function is now. And what I mean by on the road is just my day-to-day law enforcement operations. So we usually go off of just a kind of different schedule, split up into shifts. So normally we'll have a day shift, which might consist of, waking up about 3 o'clock, getting to PT about 3:30 in the morning, and then just doing PT for about a good hour, and then breaking off, getting ready, prepping uniforms to get ready for shift. Once we come in, after doing our hygiene, we'll do basic kind of guard mount. And pretty much what a guard mount is, it's like a daily brief and / training. So we might just kind of do a hip pocket training, so to speak, just brush up on just different skills that we always use on a day-to-day basis. So we might go over something like just report writing, or just traffic stops, or just radio etiquette, dealing with your weapons and stuff so it'll be just a lot of different things that we can cover in our guard mount, just to make sure everybody is still being refreshed on day-to-day tasks that we normally do. And then after that, we'll sign into the PMO, which is just the military version of the police station, and we'll generally get a daily brief as to what's going on, any new things happening in the area, anything to kind of watch out for, whether it been crime or just important people coming to the base, or just whatever the case may be. And then after that, we'll just head out to the road and we'll start our daily patrol. And usually, sometimes, just depending on the different type of environment you're in and the different people that you're protecting on that base, or just different bases in general, will depend on different types of hours and stuff like that we'll have. So as of right now, our hours are about 12-hour shifts, so to speak, somewhere around in that range. But it just constantly changes depending on the needs of the Army at that time, or that particular base. We'll do that, and then after our shift, we'll turn in our weapons and stuff like that, and then we'll go home for the day and just prep and refit and do it all again the next day or the next time we work.
Okay. All right. Cool. 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 Thank you. That was very well thought out. It was very thorough. Thank you.
Yep.
So you basically covered what are your general responsibilities. So that was literally the next question, but you pretty much covered it. But if you could give us like a brief synopsis of maybe again, what are your general responsibilities?
So the general responsibility as a MP that's like stateside, and what we're our main function is like just law enforcement. So it could be anything from like theft that might happen, in the PX on base or something like that, to just patrolling a certain area. I know a lot of times different bases when school starts back up, sometimes we'll do like patrols within the school zones just to kind of get everybody's attention and let them know, hey, school's starting back up and be careful, watch out for children, so, things like that. Um, I mean, there's definitely a lot as an MP. Like I know a lot of other MPs that may watch this video or will agree that we're more like kind of multi-purpose in the different things that we do in our MOS. So.
Okay, okay. Because I was under the impression that MPs, all you guys did was get in the cars and stop people from speeding and then stop people from stealing. The only two functions.
That's it. Well, you know what? That's So yes, we do that, but that's just one of many of our things that we do as MPs. So like we definitely do a lot of training. I guess as an MP, we do a lot of training for like if we do get deployed, we'll go on like different missions and stuff like that to protect people. So personal security detail, that's a big thing. That's actually one of the greater things that MPs do try to get into is the personal security detail. Well, that's a really great thing to get because it also matriculates to the outside civilian world and can land you a job in federal government, local law enforcement, stuff like that. So it's actually a great thing to have. A lot of those guys will land jobs protecting like VIPs, stuff like that. So like that's one great thing about being an MP. So it's a lot farther from just pulling the actual traffic stop or dealing with different things like that. But a lot of things that the MPs will see depends kind of on the base. Like I was stationed at the Great Place in Fort Hood, Texas, uh, last year, and you'll see a whole slew of different things like that. If you Google it, Fort Hood has an awesome history. It's a really big base, and and a big population. You'll see everything, that will
Okay.
happen in your normal civilian society. So.
Okay. Okay. So to actually talk about, you were talking about like the great things about your job. What are the benefits to your job? Like, what do you think? Like, you talked about how you get that great job after in the civilian world. Are there any other benefits to being an MP?
So with being an MP, um, one of the benefits are, and I think a lot of people probably take this for granted that are like starting out as MPs, is that you actually get a security clearance, a secret clearance,
Okay.
and not a lot of MOSs in the military get that. Some MOSs will require a top secret, but for just the MPs, the requirement is just a secret. Um, One of the things that I would say is kind of a not necessarily a benefit, but I know a lot of MPs right now we don't get deployed a lot. So it could be one of those things that for the civilian that's looking to come in and kind of like just maybe stay stateside for maybe their first like 2 years for the first duty station. But obviously, deployments kind of come in cycles and stuff like that. So but I know a lot of MPs definitely like look forward to getting more deployments under their belt and stuff like that to get that downrange experience, so to speak. But as far as like another great aspect for being an MP, and this is one that I like and I know many others like, is that we actually become very, very proficient in our weapons.
Okay.
So we have a whole slew of weapons, and we go to the ranges, and we actually take the lead in the military on weapon proficiency in regards to
Wow.
training other people that are in maybe non-combat MOSs, getting them trained up, just to kind of have their yearly qualifications that they need. Another great thing about the MP Corps, and this is one thing that I do like, and is that our structure and our standards are like so much higher than the average Joe, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak, and that we follow a standard that is really unmatched, and that's just across the board, no matter what branch of service you're in. The standards for being a military police officer is pretty darn good, you know. And when you put on that uniform, you really, you know, are proud of what you stand for. We maintain everything, our military bearing, we maintain our appearance. It's just all across the board, and that's one thing that really drew me to the MP Corps. So I think, speaking to your viewers and your subscribers, I think that if that's something that they want to do as far as come in as a 31 Bravo, I think, you know, that's one thing that they really have to look forward to is the high standards, and it's really doable if you do your homework and really just focus on honing your craft and your skill.
Okay. All right. Um, okay. So, kind of talking about things you like and things you don't like. What do you like most, and what do you like least about your job?
So the thing that I like the most is the different opportunities. Like I know like people generally as a kid, when they that do want to go into the military, they're like, yeah, I want to come in and I want to, you know, do some cool guy stuff, like go and shoot guns and everything like that. One thing I do like is that we do get a chance to shoot a lot. We go to the range quite frequently, as especially as MPs. Like that's something that we really have to be proficient on. So I really love doing that. I like the different schools that the MP Corps offers. Last year I was SRT, and that's just a military version of the civilian SWAT team
Okay.
down in Fort Hood.
Wow.
That's what I did. So to me, like being able to do something like that's something that not everyone can say that they've done, and it's quite an experience. And it really like already being in a MOS where the standards are high, you really have to be proficient at everything that it is that you're doing, with your communication, with your overall leadership abilities and everything. So it's not like just, you know, something as simple as like just your PRT. You know, that's something that, you know, being on a team like that, you really have to be proficient because you have a bigger, or I should say a greater standard in regards to how things get done. So, yeah, definitely.
Okay. And all right. Yeah, we'll just move on. Um, is there anything specific about your job that's exclusive to your base? You don't have to say where you're stationed at if you don't feel comfortable, but is there anything specific about your job that cannot be done anywhere else but at where you're at?
Yes, actually. So I'm stationed in DC, and at my base, it's the only base in the military that you can get like a caisson badge, you know, and participate in like different like ceremonies that will take care of such such as like former President George Bush when he passed away, his funeral. You know,
What is
people that
caisson?
were
What is caisson?
so caisson is just a it's a it's like a kind of like a specialty MOS that like they ride the horses. Like you ever seen like kind of during inaugurations and like
Okay.
different funerals where the soldiers are riding the horses and stuff like that.
Okay.
Well, they're a part of like a platoon, and their platoon is called caisson.
Okay.
And you know they take care of the horses, they train on the horses like day in day out. Like I tip my hat off to them. um, there's not many people in the military that can do that, and it's here, you know, in DC where they're able to do that, actually in Arlington, Virginia. And there's also another one which is like the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but pretty much these guys are sentinels, and what they do is they guard the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier 24/7 every day, uh, without fail. It doesn't matter what the weather is. Like they will always be out there, even when no one is there, and they'll be walking up and down, or I should say, marching up and down, back and forth, guarding the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. The Army
Wow.
drill team, the Army drill team's here. And keep in mind, everything that I'm mentioning is only here at this base and nowhere else in the military. And you can only apply to come, like if you can apply to come here, but you can only apply for those specialty platoons if you're here. So, and there's obviously exceptions to the rule. Like if you know someone that's here and know someone that knows someone, then sometimes things can happen, doors can open up for you that way as well. But it's usually only if you're here stationed at this base. And so you got the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, which is guarded all the time, and then you also have like the Army drill team.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll see them at special different events, just whatever type of high profile events. I think they may have been on the Today Show. I'm not sure, like maybe like a few weeks ago or about a month or so ago. And then there's also the forgetting one other one, the Color Guard.
Okay.
And you'll see them, doing like, the national anthem and stuff like that, holding the military colors and everything like that. So like, and then, they also have like just a whole bunch of like different just areas just blocked off for, everyone just to kind of like train, and they're like constantly training like every day, and they're so proficient. Like every time I like come to work, and it's just to be in awe to watch these guys train, and just everyone just train and be proficient. And then when you actually see the show live, and it's just like remarkable. Yeah, we have the Army band here as well. Very, very remarkable. All the people are very proficient in what they do.
Okay. Hey, Gantz, give me 1 second. I just realized something. Give me 1 second. And then I'm going to pick up. Okay, I'm going to pick up at question 9, which is basically, have you been deployed? Okay. I had to make sure your voice was being heard and not just being heard through my ears.
Okay.
Okay, but you're good. All right. So anyway, that's really, really interesting. So what you're saying is a lot of things can be done where you're at in DC versus other places. So to move away from that topic, have you ever been deployed? Do you want to be deployed?
So no, I've never been deployed, but yes, I do want to be deployed. Um, it's like the Army, though. There's people that have always been like that have been deployed in the past. Right now for the MPs, we have different missions. Like when we do get deployed, it's just really kind of based off of what's going on at the time. But I've had friends that went on deployments to Africa, and just like they've done things from like training, just a lot of training and stuff like that over there, but no real stuff like you would hear about back in like the early 2000s or anything, nothing like that.
Okay.
As far as the MP Corps goes, as of right now.
Okay. Next question. If you could change anything about your job, if there's anything at all, what would you like to change within the job? If there's anything. If there's not, that's fine.
Um, with the MP Corps, the MP Corps is pretty good. I just think that depending on where you're stationed at, um, will depend on the different type of availability for the schools. I think it's a good thing that the MP Corps is small, but then the bad thing is that sometimes, when you do want to try to get a school, it's kind of filled up at that time because of like, there's things that it's so small, and it's just like the different missions at the time that take precedent, over going to different schools and stuff like that. So, but so I don't know. I guess that's kind of like a catch-22 type deal.
Yeah. Okay. Um, Not a big deal. Um, Next question is, how does this position transfer over to the civilian world? Does having experience as an MP actually help you get jobs over in the civilian world? Are you do you know much about how it works? But basically, the question is, how does it transfer over to the civilian world?
Okay, so again, yes, the MP, if you're an MP, obviously you want to do something like law enforcement if you decide to get out. So for those that are looking to just kind of do their initial contract and get out at that time, they can go into civilian law enforcement, and there are a lot of MPs that do choose to do that, and a lot of them choose to do that because maybe they're in an area at a base where they like the town, or they like the state, so they want to stay in that state. So they'll just kind of they might just go and just say, you know what, I'm just going to get out at this time once their contract is up, and then they'll stay there and apply for civilian law enforcement. And that's one good thing about being an MP, because, and unlike other MOSs, no matter where I'm at, like where I'm at right now, like if I wanted to get out in a couple of years, I can start putting my, contacts together with the local civilians or even like the state. And I can start like getting those applications ready so that when it's time for me to discharge from the military, I can just go into whatever their academy, or sometimes I can skip over, go into their academies and stuff like that, actually, and
Did
just
not
go
know
right
that.
into the interview process and everything. So that's the great thing. Another good thing about being an MP and trying to get out, and how it translates into like the civilian world, is that on a lot of the military bases on stateside, they'll have like, you got your regular MPs, but then you also have like the civilian DES and stuff like that. And a lot of those people that are civilians that, like, maybe working on the road and patrolling right alongside the MPs or on the gates and stuff, a lot of them were in the military at some point, different branches or whatever the case may be, but a lot of them were MPs at one point. So it's that just goes to show as testament to the way that being an MP can matriculate to the civilian world, because then not only what have you had your federal or your government service, serving your country, but as a federal employee, your retirement also could translate over to the civilian
Wow.
world when you're working as, for the Department of Defense as a civilian as well. So that's the great thing about it. So if I'm leaving here with like 10 years or 20 years or something like that, I can still go for like a second pension or something like that. So it just all depends what type of job you get into. My old LT that I served under, he he actually was going into the FBI. So
Okay.
he was getting out, and he wanted to take that, go into civilian, but go into the FBI and take that route. And so like there was so many just different opportunities. And the good thing is about being an MP, and then also like being like some of the different specialty like SRT or anything like that, is like you get opportunities to work with people from like the FBI, the U.S. Marshals, the Secret Service. Um,
Hmm.
I've done work with, I've interacted and worked alongside the Secret Service a couple of times. So like just kind of, just bumping shoulders with those guys, getting business cards and stuff like that. It's all about networking. So not everyone is going to hit the ball out of the park, but if you're vigilant, and if you do your homework right, then and pay attention, put yourself in the right position at the right time, anything can happen.
Hmm. Okay. Wow. Wow. I did not know you could get into the FBI, and I didn't even know that some of the time that you served in the military could actually be transferred over to the civilian world. That is
Oh yes.
interesting.
Oh
Um.
yes.
So closing it out with the last couple questions is so what are your plans on like after your contract? Like do you plan on staying in? What are your plans? 20, 25, 100 years? I mean, what's going on?
So as of right now, my plans are to stay out until they kick me out.
All
So
right.
like my plan is to I know I probably talked to you about this before about going to OCS, right?
Right.
So like I'm still kind of like waiting on like their approval from like HRC and stuff like that. But yeah, so like that's the route that I do want to take. And definitely if that happens, then it just makes sense to go ahead and do it at least the 20 to set myself up down the road for a good retirement.
Okay. If you were to go to OCS, would you try and branch MP and be an MP officer?
Either stay MP or go MPI.
MPI.
Because
Okay.
it's, yeah, so
Okay. Um,
or
and
I'm sorry,
am
not
I?
MPI.
Okay.
Yeah, military
Um,
intelligence. So
I was gonna say that anyway. Um,
okay.
any very last question, any words of wisdom for individuals looking to get into this MOS? 31 Bravo.
Yes. The only thing that you really have to know is do as you're told. Like obviously you do the right thing and the respectful thing, and we uphold the standards all the time. But if you're coming in as a 31 Bravo, right away once you get into reception, before you even start basic, do what you're told, right uniform, just be on time, and just be there, and you'll be fine. Like, and that's really how the MP Corps works. So that's what I got for them.
Okay, personal question actually. I
Mhm.
heard that, or I think I've read somewhere that basic and AIT for MPs is actually together at Leonard Wood, or is that not true?
Yes,
Oh man.
yes, it is. So it's
So
called one station unit training.
okay. Do you think that's a benefit to your job, or do you think they should be separate?
I think it's a benefit because the drill sergeants that we have as MPs are very, very, very proficient at what they do, and they actually prepare us for what we need to do as an MP. Um, and I know it's kind of like, that's what everyone's supposed to do, but being at Leonard Wood, it's, you know the weather, the different weather changes and stuff like that, and just kind of it does get you ready as an MP to be able to go to your first duty station and just accept whatever the conditions may be, and accept whatever is going to get thrown at you, because as an MP you really have to, you can't be too comfortable. You have to be willing and open to accept whatever comes your way, because in real life scenarios you're the one that's protecting the public. So
Okay.
you have to be, willing to do just whatever.
Okay. Okay. Well, that concludes our questions. Thank you very much, Sergeant Gantz, for stopping
Welcome.
by on the YouTube channel for answering this. I'm pretty sure you helped a lot of people with this, and they will be happy to hear that information. Um, so everybody, YouTube, that was the end of the 31 Bravo interview. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, or want to reach out to Sergeant Gantz personally, if he lets me, I will drop his information in the description box for you guys all to see. And but anyway, like I always like to say at the end of all my videos, don't live the same year 75, 80, 85, 90 times and then try and call it a life. And then my Instagram and my Snapchat and maybe Sergeant Gantz, if you're lucky, will be in the description. You guys have a good one. Take it easy.